fixing a slight problem on my new Toyota Tacoma Flowmaster exhaust. Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. That's right, today I've got to fix just the slightest of problems on my new Toyota Tacoma exhaust. About a week and a half ago or so, I put the Flowmaster FX exhaust on my Toyota Tacoma. Now I did it to get a little bit more grumble, a little bit more sound. Gotta say, I love it so far. We're gonna take it for a little bit of a ride later on today, so there'll be another video about that, kind of how it's doing after being on for a little bit, and what it sounds like now. Has it gotten any louder? But I have just the slightest of problems that I've got to take care of today because it's driving me nuts. Now, what I'm talking about is the exhaust tip. I say tip because it's just one, and I think it's the one on the driver's side. And if you look at it, you can see this one, and this is the passenger side. Looking straight down, you can't see the tip at all, right? Where is it? But if you go over here on the driver's side, you can see the tip right here sticking out, and that's because this one sticks out a little bit further. Now, this isn't a huge problem, don't get me wrong, but it is one of those pet peeve kind of things. So I am going to move, I think, the driver's side in a little bit. I haven't quite decided whether to do that or move the passenger side out. It's very simple to do. I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, we're down here on the ground. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the passenger side. I've decided I'm gonna bring the passenger side out a little bit more because frankly, I kind of like the distance that the driver's side is sticking out. So it looks like I need to come out maybe about an inch or so over on the passenger side. Now, this is pretty simple to do. Let me scooch back over here. If you look, you can see the bolt right here. Plus this will be easier to do because it's facing me. The other one's on the other side. But you just back this bolt out a little bit. Hopefully I didn't crush it too much when I tightened it because I tend to go overboard when tightening. But we're gonna loosen this bolt up and then I should be able to pull out the tip a little bit. This takes a 14mm socket, by the way. So let's loosen this thing up a little. Again, I hope I didn't crush it too much. I mean, I know I crushed it a little bit when I put it on, so we'll see. That's loose. Oh yeah, no big deal. Perfect. Okay, so now I just have to get it aligned up. The way I'm trying to do it, there is a drain hole somewhere on the bottom here. I have to find that. I think it's right here. You want to make sure that's on the bottom. That's kind of my gauge, if you will. And then I'm lining up the tip itself with the second row of tread. So you have the first row here and the second row here, kind of in the middle of this second row. So let me finagle that a little bit, and then I'll come back on. We'll take a look, see if I got it right. Okay, we've got it all done. I think I have it set to perfection. It should be okay now. Real quick, I did switch cameras, by the way, so you guys are gonna have to let me know if you notice a difference on this segment. And also, if you haven't before, make sure you smash that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Now, let's take a look at what I've done. It's very simple to do, and I'm quite happy that it wasn't crushed on the pipe so that I couldn't move it, you know. But let's take a look. There is the passenger side, and looking at it from the top, you guys can see it now sticks out beyond this fin over here, which is what I wanted. And it's about even, or it's about into the second set of tread on the tires, if you can see there. So looking at the driver's side, which I did not move, it is into the second set of tread on the tires as well. And you can see here, it does protrude out from the fin, and it looks pretty darn even to me. So I'm happy with it. I think it's perfect now. We are going to do a cold start in a minute, by the way, so stay tuned for that. Now, I've had a couple of questions about the exhaust, so I figured I would answer now. The biggest one by far, strangely enough, is what tips did I use? Now, you guys can see what's on there now. These are the tips that I bought as the second set. They're the smaller diameter tips. Sitting over here on the workbench are the tips that came with it, the infamous damaged tips. They're just bigger in diameter. If you look at the openings here, they're bigger. Now, a lot of questions I've had is, does it make a difference on the sound? And no, it doesn't. It's just a hole. It's just an opening. So there's no big difference or sound change because I'm using a little bit narrower tip, if you will. So not really concerned about that affecting the sound at all. Now, another question I've had is about the piping underneath. So if we come down under here, you can see it's obviously the silver or chrome piping. I probably should have painted it, but I don't think you can really see it, so I'm not concerned. Now, one of the questions was, what kind of clearance do we have with the tire? Now, you can see right there, there is clearance with the tire. It's not sitting up against the spare. So we don't really have any issues with that. I'm not concerned about that. If we look over on the other side, there's no issues there either. I mean, there's a pretty big gap. I could put a little bit bigger spare under there if I wanted to, but with the tire setup I have right now, I think I'm okay as far as needing to change the spare. It would work because it's pretty close to the same diameter as what I have right now in the aftermarkets. The other thing is where it sits, the pipe that is, in relation to the differential. Let's get you guys a good viewpoint here. If we look over here, I think, you can see it's not touching the differential. It does sit in front of it. Is that a big deal? Well, I don't think so. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm not sure why that's really even a concern. Unless for some reason maybe you wanted to paint the differential. I don't know. There's a better view over there, I guess. It does not sit against the differential, so I don't have any issues with that. There's a look inside the pipe, by the way, in case you're curious what it looks like in there. So no issues like that. Everything has stayed nice and firm and positioned where it's supposed to be. And the other thing that I like about this exhaust, if you've ever put the dual exhaust on the Tundra, then you know that the pipes don't hang at the same level. One hangs lower than the other. I think it's actually the driver's side is a little high. These sit the same height. If you look at the difference between the pipe, or the tip rather, and the bottom of the truck itself here, you can see that gap right there. And if we look at the other side, it is almost spot on. You know, I don't see any real big difference, so kudos to Flowmaster in designing this with the bends and the way that it sits. I think it's pretty much spot on even, so I really like that. All right, that's it. That's the adjustment of the pipe, or the tip rather. I think it looks pretty good. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and do a cold start. You can hear what it sounds like after it's been on for about a week and a half or so, and sitting out here cold. Okay, there you have it. A little bit of a cold start. Little small problem fixed with the tips on the new exhaust. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. The tips, the cold start, I'd be curious to know. Also, once again, if you didn't in the beginning, make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe bell and click that notification button so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I do have 2 additional channels, RobMotive JT, all about Jeep Gladiators, and RobMotive FST, all about full-size trucks, for now. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.